we wanted to spread the history of language learning in the country in 3 main points, which was colonial, then Law 115, and finally the newborn policies in bilingualism. First off, the colonial times saw language learning as a humanizing activity, therefore implying that Aboriginal languages were not human. Do you think that can have some sort of repercussion in the way that we see languages nowadays? Then we have Law 115, which basically regulated the educational system in the country, which was great, and also regulated the language teaching in the country as well. And finally, we have the newborn policies, such as the National Bilingual Program, local bilingual initiatives, and some guidelines for bilingual teaching as well. And those were born out of the COFE project, which was mainly to open productional, economical, and political windows in the country. With the issues of the guidelines, we wanted to really talk about 2 bullet points, and those are the lack or misuse of terminology and the lack of synchronization between the documents. And this is really important because as teachers, we need to understand that guidelines are the things that are gonna set the boundaries for our way of teaching. In this section, we wanted to really think about these issues, especially the 2 last bullet points, which was looking for an inclusive and sustainable language policy, really thinking people who have Spanish as a second language and not as a mother tongue. And then we have the idea of elite languages and what does these elite languages mean in our culture. For the section of interesting thought and ideas, we wanted really to focus on things that really stayed with us after reading. The role of teachers. As language teachers, we need to understand that having a critical view on the role we play in our classroom can really have implications in the way we are going to be teachers. Elite bilingualism is basically the idea that languages can have productional value. With post-conflict era and homogenization, I just want to leave you with 2 questions. First, how can you impact your students in a post-conflict era? What does peace mean now? And second, how would a classroom be if everybody was exactly the same? So Indigenous languages, we see these with 2 sides. First, approaches in the text, like they need more acknowledgement. People have them as a first language, so should be an official languages of the country. And what are the implications of these 2 points of view in day-by-day life?
Following the fundamental concepts of the text, there may be a question that remains in regards of the preservation of native languages and the predominance of some foreign ones in language education within our system. Besides preserving a main pillar of some cultures, is there any other particular reason why there should be a prevalence of the usage of these languages? This may sound as a really tough statement, but it is important to separate the language as a political and economic tool in order to understand their importance and value. Fluency in an elite language such as English is important to economic success, and it increases economic efficiency. However, maintaining linguistic diversity also has a value, since language is also an expression of the culture itself. Also, the image we have of Aboriginal languages has changed through time, as there is more cultural awareness rather than in the colonial concept of them being not human. Nevertheless, whether we like it or not, we live within a capitalist structure, and currently the value of learning a language rests in the benefits that we could achieve by learning it. Better opportunities in this country may be available for individuals who are fluent in elite languages, but it rests in the hands of education to turn the ancient policies for languages declared as official only within the context of some particular regions, because the understanding of ethnic and cultural diversity of the country is the first step that must be taken to preserve our national culture and identity.